Welcome to another episode of Youth Diary. Your eyes are an important part of your body and it's really important to keep them healthy. And to help us, we have Dr. Deepa with us. She is an ophthalmologist at CMC Cochin. Hello doctor, welcome to our show.
Thank you, same here.
Doctor, can you just tell me what are the common eye problems in teens?
Okay, the common problems that we see in the young usually is mainly defect in the vision, that is due to refractive errors, or sometimes a deviation of the eyes, what we call as squint. Then severe itching related to allergy and allergic conjunctivitis. And of course, they have queries regarding whether contact lens is better, whether refractive surgery like LASIK is better for refractive corrections. These are the common things that we come across in our OPD in youngsters.
Hi ma'am, I am Amrita. I am doing my second year MBBS. I have a doubt. My 8-year-old niece is having squint. How can you correct it?
Squint means there is a deviation in our alignment of two eyes. We all know that when we look at an object, we have two eyes, and when we look at an object, though we see it with both eyes, we are seeing only one image. This is actually a process called binocular single vision. That is, just like looking through a binocular, we are looking with two eyes and seeing a single image. So in children, squint develops when the development of this process is not complete. Of course, there are other causes for squint, like when there is a problem, any damage to the muscle that moves the eye, or when there is any problem in the nerve. It is a nerve which supplies and activates the muscle. So when there is any problem with that nerve also, squint can develop. But these type of squint, like paralytic and other mechanical types of squint, are not very common in the youngsters. When it is seen in children, it is mostly due to a faulty development of this binocular vision system. So also there is another possibility, that is when the vision is not good. We all know if we are getting a very unclear image, and when we get a clear image, we have a tendency to prefer the clear image and ignore the blurred one. Just like that, when one eye is having a good vision and the other eye is having a defect in the vision, this defective eye has a tendency to become lazy and not to use that eye. So that eye will go into a situation called divergent squint, that is, the eye will deviate out. So whenever a child is having squint, first thing that you should ensure is that the child's vision is normal. We should assess the visual acuity and check if it is normal. And if at all some power is there, that we have to find out. After doing a detailed dilated evaluation, we have to find out the refractive error and give correction. The problem is, unless this is corrected, the proper development of the retina will be affected, and after a particular period of time, even if you correct it, the child will not attain completely normal visual acuity. This is something what you call as amblyopia that may develop. So first thing, you rule out any refractive error. If at all it is there, full correction that has to be given, and the parents should be properly counseled as to this spectacle should be worn by the child constantly, so that whatever muscles are in the eye which are being overused or strained because of the refractive error, that gets proper rest and the eye gets aligned properly. And once this correction is given, you have to follow up the child every 2 months or 3 months and ensure that the proper correction is being given. Even after doing this for around 6 months or so, this everything correction is given, the child is using it properly, his vision is coming up, everything is okay, but still there is deviation persisting, means you should ensure that there is no problem with the muscles as well as the nerves, that all that evaluation, any central nervous system, neurological problems, everything should be ruled out, and then you should suggest surgery. The correction in alignment, that is mainly for a cosmetic purpose. The problem is with other visual problems, only the patient knows that he has a problem, like he cannot see, there is a blurring in vision. But the problem with squint is that both the patient as well as those who are looking understands that he has a problem. So it has got some psychological aspects also. It may impair the confidence of the person. So surgical correction can be advised in that stage of squint. So you should get an opinion from a good pediatric oculoplasty surgeon regarding the surgical correction of squint.
Hi ma'am, I am Deepa. I am doing my second MBBS. I have a doubt. I have frequent headache. I don't feel any defect in my vision. How can we correct it?
Okay, headache. That is another headache for us, because people get headache due to so many reasons, and nowadays it is very common in youngsters, like they complain of headache. It can be due to various reasons. To enumerate all the causes is difficult, but the usual causes include refractive errors, that is short sight or long sight, what we call myopia, hypermetropia, astigmatism, like that. That is the ophthalmological cause for that. Then you have other like sinusitis. You know that sinuses are air-filled spaces. So around the eye there are so many sinuses in and around, like behind, above and below the eyeball you have so many sinuses. So when these cavities get filled with mucus, secretions or pus or something like that, when it collects, that causes a congestion in that area and that can lead on to chronic headache. That is another reason. Then there is something what you call, like everybody may be knowing, a migraine. It is a typical type of headache which is caused due to some abnormality in the caliber, that is the lumen, what you call the blood vessel changes. Usually blood flows smoothly because of the periodic contraction as well as relaxation, that is the lumen becomes small and large. Because of this rhythmic movements the blood flows smoothly. When there is any obstruction to this, sometimes due to stress, some chemicals may be released in our body, and as a result of that the caliber of this blood vessel may be altered and blood may pool in that area, when that will cause some sort of a headache, that is called vascular headache. So all these are the common causes of headache. Now she has specifically told that she is having headache but there is no defect in vision. But the problem is in small amounts of hypermetropia or long-sightedness, maybe 0.25 or 0.5 power like that, people may not appreciate any problem in their vision. This is because it is the distance vision which is being affected. So there will not be any problem in driving. In your classes you will be comfortable because the board is closer to you. Sometimes the teacher may be dictating notes, not looking on the board and writing, because in teenagers nowadays smart school has come. So they may not appreciate any problem in that unless and until it is checked specifically. So this type of refractive errors, they can cause an overuse of some muscles in your eye called ciliary muscles, and that muscle will remain contracted all the time for focusing, to maintain the clear focus. So the muscle will get tired and eventually that will manifest as headache, eye ache. The patient may not be able to delineate whether it is a headache or a eye pain. So that is another common cause. So from the part of an eye specialist, what we do is we will check the vision, and even if the vision is 6/6, that is the normal visual acuity being recorded, even if that is so, we do a dilated refraction, what do you call, we paralyze this muscle, ciliary muscle, and then look for any residual power, so that any abnormal contribution made by this muscle is being abolished, and then we check whether there is any power. That is there. If that is there, that is to be corrected. So in this girl, maybe I think she may be having a latent or some hidden form of power, refractive error, that needs to be found out by a dilated refraction, and then if adequate correction is given, the problem can be solved. And if everything is normal with the eye, then maybe you should rule out sinusitis or vascular headache or migraine or any other serious neurological problems which is causing this headache.
Hi ma'am, I'm Sneha. I'm doing my second year MBBS and I have a doubt. For the past 6 to 7 years I've been using specs. So what's your opinion on laser treatment?
Laser treatment is something which is in vogue nowadays. People are having so many doubts about that, because earlier when somebody was diagnosed to have some short sight or long sight, the only option they had was to use spectacles. They had no other option. But as innovations came contact lenses, so which were to those who were very conscious cosmetically about wearing spectacles. Some professions demand the use of it, so contact lens became trendy. Then the problem with contact lens, like the problem or inconvenience rather, that is the correct word, with contact lens was that it is very tedious to use it regularly. You have to be very careful, otherwise you will get an infection of the eye. So again, people got tired with that, and now they want a better option. They cannot use spectacles, they cannot use contact lens, they want something else. And then came refractive surgeries, that is in short what people know as LASIK. It is actually, you are modifying the curvature of the cornea. Cornea is an important medium through which the light rays pass through. You know that when we look at the eye, there is a very clear transparent area that is called the cornea. And about, a major contribution to the total power of the eye is by the cornea. So any change in its curvature or shape can affect the power drastically. So what we do in LASIK is, we apply a particular frequency laser to the cornea so that some fibers are they get flattened. or they get the texture get abnormal, so that we get a necessary steepening or flattening depending upon how we apply, depending upon how much depth we apply. Like that we get a flattening or steepening of the cornea. So that is what we do in LASIK. But is it advisable to all people who is having refractive error? That is the question. So there are certain prerequisites or conditions that has to be satisfied before moving in for a LASIK. One thing is you should be more than 18 years of age. Usually in adults, we don't do it in children. Then your refractive status, that is the power of your eye, should remain stable at least for 1 year. That is, in between, if it is changing, if it is 0.5 this month, after 6 months maybe it is 0.75 plus 1 or like that. If it is keeping on changing, then again it is not an ideal situation. It should be remaining stable for 1 year. And there are certain evaluations like how much thick is your cornea, is the shape perfectly okay, otherwise your eye is normal, your retina is good, your lens is clear, everything else is absolutely okay, then you can think of a refractive surgery, especially for people who need higher powers, because the thickness of the glass is again causing much of the cosmetic blemish. If it is a very stylish thin glass, I don't think people would mind wearing that. So if that is also a problem, and in certain situations even contact lens may not be suitable for your work, like especially if you are very busy, you don't get enough time to give much attention to those things. Then also, and spectacles, if you are a dancer or if you are a sports person, then maintaining a spectacle is very difficult because it will restrict your mobility. So in such situations, of course, LASIK surgery is a very good option. It has got its own advantages, and the side effects or the complications that may occur is very minimal as far as studies till now. So the first thing or the good thing that you should do is you should find out a good ophthalmologist with whom you can discuss all these problems, your requirements, your inconveniences, and then get to a decision rather than going in for the trend or following others. You should have an idea about your problem and then come to a conclusion whether you should go for a LASIK treatment or not.
Ma'am, I'm Swati Kirtana from second year MBBS. I have a doubt. I'm 20-year-old. I have brown discoloration in my eyes, and I'm not bothered about it. I'm bothered about the color.
Okay.
But I don't have any other complaint. What can I do with that?
Discoloration of eyes can be due to many reasons. So it need not always be very, pathological due to some disease or so. But because, as always, because it is a cosmetic problem, people are very bothered about that. One thing is, normally itself, the white part of the eye, that is our sclera, that is what we call it. There are some blood vessels which pierce the sclera at various levels. So we know that blood has got colored cells or pigments. So in these regions where these blood vessels are penetrating or piercing the sclera, in those areas some pigments can accumulate, and that can cause a slight like brownish to blackish discoloration. Then another situation is, just like we have moles in other parts of the body, we call it as nevus. Scientifically we call it as nevus. That can come in the sclera part of the eye due to some abnormal melanin pigmentation. So nevus need not always be as innocuous as it seems. Sometimes it may be a pathological situation where it can become malignant, what you call cancerous lesions. But that is very rare. More commonly what we see is a very simple non-pathological variety of nevus. Again, that is another problem. But the most common thing that we see is due to factors related with nutrition. Nowadays, youngsters especially, they are very diet conscious. And the thing is that though they are conscious, they are not looking into the good factors, like which diet should you choose, like that. And they have a particular aversion to vegetables, I think. The children especially, they don't eat vegetables much. They are much into junk food. So vitamin A deficiency, though it is a very, we think that now in this society everybody is educated, everybody is financially well off, we will not get malnutrition like that, but vitamin deficiency is still occurring. So that itself can cause a dull, lusterless looking eye with a muddy sort of a degeneration, degenerative changes, and muddy discoloration of the conjunctiva. So the best thing that you can do for that is supplement your diet with good amount of green leafy vegetables, food rich in vitamin A, mangoes, pumpkins, everything which is yellow fruits, all that can be included in your diet. And generally proteinaceous food you have to take. And in spite of being conscious, you should be bothered about your health also. So that is very important. And if it is a very large spot, brownish discoloration, then you should consult your doctor to ensure that it is nothing serious. It is just an nevus or just a pigmentation in that area.
Ma'am, I'm Devi Priya, studying second MBBS here at Cochin Medical College. I've been wearing contact lens for the past 4 years, and recently I developed irritation and redness on wearing them. What should I do, ma'am?
As I told earlier, contact lens use, it should be very carefully done. Though it appears very simple, just taking it, putting into your eyes as you are on the go. It's not so simple as it seems, because hygiene is very important in this part. You have to wash your hands properly, you have to keep it in the perfect case. The case should be kept clean. It should not be thrown anywhere just like that. Again, the thing is, you always forget to keep it out before going to sleep. That is mandatory. It should not be worn overnight. Before going to sleep, you should remove it, put it in the cleaning solution. Again, in the morning when you are going to wear it back, you have to wash your hands properly and then use it. And the solutions, that should be kept very sterile. It should be kept closed, and if at all you have any doubt, even if the expiry date is not over, if you have any doubt regarding the color or any change in the consistency is noted, then you should discard the solution. And of course, the contact lens should be inspected very carefully before wearing. If you see any white deposits or any precipitates on that lens or in the case, then also you should not wear it. You should wash it properly. If it is still not going, you should go to your from where you have bought the contact lens, you should get it cleaned and then use it. And this girl, she has been using it for past so many years. She was okay, but now she has become uncomfortable. One thing is maybe the problem with the solution, or maybe extended wear contact lenses, they can be used for 1 year or so, but maybe a few days before or a few months before, maybe that solution or the thing has become bad. So whenever you get any irritation, even if you were comfortable before, you should go to an eye specialist immediately, because the problem mainly with contact lenses, you get some dangerous form of corneal ulcers, that is the infection of the cornea, especially with an organism called acanthamoeba keratitis. That is very common in contact lens users. And you know that cornea is a very small area, but that is very important, and that area doesn't have much of a blood supply. So if any infection occurs in that area, it spreads fast and destroys the whole cornea in a matter of days. So if you have any irritation, you should contact your ophthalmologist and ensure that your solution is okay, your contact lens is okay. And sometimes maybe while traveling or so, she might have had some foreign body falling into the eye, and she might have rubbed. That might have formed a small abrasion on the cornea. So you feel that even if a very minute microscopic thing is sticking onto the cornea itself, you will not be able to tolerate that. When you go to the doctor and the doctor takes that out, you will feel, oh, was it the thing in my eye? But again, that is highly irritating to the patient. Maybe that is producing these symptoms. So you go to your ophthalmologist and check it out.
So doctor, it was really an informative talk. Thank you so much. So guys, write your suggestion to us. Our email ID is youthdiaryrosewall@gmail.com. See you.